Hi friends, on Monday we learned about this shape. It has two long sides and two short sides. It has four corners. Do you remember what it was called? You're right, it's a rectangle. But friends, there's another shape that looks very similar to the rectangle, but it has four sides that are all exactly the same. Oh my goodness, let's count those sides. One, two, three, four sides. Let's count the corners. One, two, three, four corners. Four sides, four corners, but they don't look alike. That's because two of these sides are longer than the other sides, and these four sides are all the same. Do you remember what this is called? You're right. It's a square. S Q and U are good friends. Square. That's a square. Look around your house. Can you see anything that's the shape of a square? Mrs. Brown, I see the calendar numbers. They're squares in our school. Do you see any other squares?
Our file cabinet.
Oh my goodness, the file cabinet drawers are squares.
And I have some signs up on my bulletin board that are squares.
Wow, Mrs. Brown, there are a lot of squares in our environment. I have some pictures of some other squares. Here's a cracker. You may have a square cracker in your kitchen. There's a piece of cheese. It's a cheese slice. It's a square with a couple little holes. There's a square of chocolate. Sometimes you can break a square of chocolate off your chocolate bar. Whoa, there's a chessboard or a checkerboard. It's a big square with a lot of little squares inside. There's another square. It's a window. Now, some windows are squares and some are rectangles. This one happens to be a square window and a square picture frame. Again, some are rectangles, but Mrs. Brow has square pictures, and this is a square picture frame. Well, friends, we're going to practice the square on our square worksheet. So if you open your folders, you should have just one worksheet left for this week, and it's the worksheet that says SQUARE square. So friends, remember when we're doing our worksheet, the first thing we need is our pencil.
Mrs. Beck, why didn't you put it up on the board? It worked good that way.
Did it? Okay,
We did
let me
it that
try
way.
that. I didn't remember doing it that way, Mrs. Brown. You got a good memory. Here we go. We'll put this right over top of our square. Is the light good enough, Mrs.
Yep.
Brown? I'm going to pinch my pencil with two fingers, let it rest on my third finger, and these two fingers, they have nothing to do, so I'm going to curl them up. And I'm going to write right in the middle of the road, S, Q. Q looks like a P, except it's the other way, and it has a curly Q. See the curly Q in Q? SQUARE. That says square. Sneaky silent E at the end makes the vowel say his name, square. Square. Now it says write it, so we need to trace the letters. SQUARE square. SQUARE square. SQUARE square. Now here it says draw it. I see a sharp corner right here. I can draw a nice square. We want to make sure we have straight lines and sharp corners on our square. Make sure you don't make a skinny square because then it wouldn't be a square, it would be a rectangle. Make sure you make all four sides the same. If your first one didn't turn out so well, don't worry. Just draw another one. No big deal. Everybody makes mistakes. Straight line, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sharp corners. Mine looks a little crooked, Mrs. Brown, but I can fix it up.
Yeah, that's good.
How many sides? Gee, I don't know, friends. Let's count the sides and see. Did you guess? You're right, 4. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sides on my square. So I write a capital L and a lowercase l, and it makes the number 4. 4 is so easy that way. Now, how many corners? Well, let's count. Here's a corner right here. 1. There's a corner 2. There's a corner 3, and I keep going around. There's a corner 4. 4 corners. Capital L, lowercase l makes the number 4. Now, the last thing we need to do, friends, is color it. Take a minute to look at what you think we should color. Can you help me out? I have my really rosy red. Is this a square? I don't think so. Who can find a square? Can you point to a square on your paper? No, that's a triangle. That's okay. Here it is. Here's a square. Good job, friends. You found it. Do you see any more squares? You're right. There's another one. You are really good finders. Mrs. Brown, do you think that's all the squares?
I think I see one more you missed, Mrs. Beck. Look closely.
Mrs. Brown, my friends at home said, here it is.
I think they saw it.
That's good pointing, friends. Good job. There's the last square. Let's count how many squares we colored. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Do you remember how to write the number 3? Around the tree. Around the tree. Oopsie daisy. Around the tree. Let me just make a new number 3. Around the tree, around the tree. That's how we make the number 3. And when we make a mistake, we don't worry about it. We just try again. That's a great number 3. Well, friends, I hope you'll do your square paper, and don't forget, save it to bring it when we come back to school, to bring it back. Now, if you flip over, you can make something that's a square on the back of your paper. Let's see, what could we make that's a square, Mrs. Brown?
I think, I don't know. What do you think?
Well,
Our 3-year-olds did one.
how about a house, Mrs. Brown?
That's what I was thinking.
Some houses are square. You have to be careful to make sure all 4 sides are the same. I think I'm going to make a big square picture window. That looks like a square. Now I'm going to make a rectangle door. Yep. And you know what, Mrs. Brown? I'm going to give it a red triangle roof.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, no, look at that. So the house is square, the window is square, but this is a rectangle. Well, I'm going to decorate my yard with grass and flowers and make some birds in my sky. I can't wait to see what your pictures look like. We'll see them when you come back to school. Just make sure and put all your finished papers back in your folder so you can bring it back.
Sounds good.
See you later, friends.
Bye.